Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another live stream of Hearthstone. You may notice that the audio sounds different. I'm looking forward to any feedback there. Right now, unfortunately, I'm recording a game called Abduction and the audio, the way it records is just really odd. It's not working the way it should, and I've had to change all of the volume, so best I can figure, everything is going to be about twice as loud as it should be. Also, while I was at it, put in a noise filter, so maybe there'll be a little bit less noise caught, but it might also slightly affect the sound microphone. We have a lot to do today on this Friday, October 20th. A lot of news and an arena run we need to get through. We're on the Asian account this time instead of our normal, starting with the Americas account with all the fancy cards. I can't trade anything, so I need to play Pirates and win 5 games with Rogue and win 7 games. So I think need to do this Tavern Brawl. Nope, I don't, but there is a daily quest I have around that. Let's just start with a regular card pack opening. Begin with. This was from the Tavern Brawl that I did off screen. Well, not off screen, but post game, post show. So I'm hoping the stars align and we can do an arena run. And in that arena run, we play as a rogue with at least a couple of pirates, and by doing that, we get all 3 of these daily quests on the Asian account done, and then we can move over to the Americas account. Also, there's a lot of stuff on the European account, and I overslept, so we're already starting later than I would want at 5:45 Central Time, US Central Time. I can play Warrior. No. Okay. So Warlock's not one to play, so let's play Priest. Let's just get through this as best as we can. Then Hearth Arena is now going to show ads, or it's going to try to show ads. It will actually, there's a setting in this app that to make it not show ads if you're streaming to Twitch, and yet there's no function for if you're streaming to YouTube, which they need to get their stuff together and just let you click a box that say I don't want to see ads. That potentially is gonna get my entire stream flagged for copyright infringement of the ad, or even worse, it very possibly could hurt some other streamers if they have contracts or agreements that says that are specifically set up so that they don't run ads or competing ads. If somebody has like a G2A thing, that horrible site, they may have a contract with GTA saying that you won't advertise anything else. And it's just rude in general. Honestly, this app is something that you would see the equivalent of in Linux. Like, people make little Linux apps all the time. They put it out for free, they move on. They don't ask for money. Maybe they ask for a Patreon donation or something like that. But they don't try to monetize it and continuously make more and more profit off of something that is doing something rather simple. All this app is doing is going to a website and giving you a number. And we're just cheating as usual on these arena runs, taking whatever it says. For the most part, I would say I would have picked the same card as what it suggests at least 2/3 of the time. And I don't think for a second I can disagree with its choices. I just reasoning behind the other third. And since this is a free win already arena run, we start with a bit of an advantage. Here we can look at our mana curve. Let's begin. And as we're loading, I will start going through the news, but I also want to kind of pay attention to this too.
Your soul shall be mine.
Well, I have kind of got the feeling that there are maybe some really small differences between the European and Americas and the Asian account as far as how people play. I really wouldn't say that there's any real difference in challenge. Not now. Maybe at the very beginning, if they had just launched, say, the Asian server and nobody knew how to play Hearthstone, then that would make sense. But if there's plenty of well-established good players or people playing just the general meta in Hearthstone and all of these servers, that you're gonna get close to 50% win ratio. The dreaded 50% win. Oh. There's this and attack.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
So there's a deal on Steam right now to buy a game called Icy, ICEY, and the Steam Link, and it's $1 for the Steam Link. Otherwise, that deal potentially might be worth it. Like, it's really hard to make the argument that $1 isn't worth it. And then you're paying $10 for a game that as a streamer, I guess it really doesn't matter too much to me if I have yet another game. So kind of effectively what this means is for $8.09 in US dollars, you can buy the Steam Link. I would like to get one, because I think there's going to be enough of a use you can get out of it. I don't know if they're going to make a new Steam Link. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
Engaging TC-130 into
But maybe they're trying to get rid of bugs. I think one of the things about the Steam Link to consider is that it is running the I think it's running a NVIDIA graphics chip that doesn't there's a lot of negative reviews on it too. It's basically just for streaming games inside your own house, in case you don't know what the Steam Link is. this. This.
Ready, sir.
So I might actually go for that deal myself and end up with one. Seem like I feel like you could probably hack it. I don't think it's gonna be as useful as say a Raspberry Pi 3, but it might have slightly more video capabilities, so if you could hack it to do a few interesting things.
Speak your piece. If you insist.
To battle!
Let's see. That was hardly news. Let me just be honest with it. Yeah, I just woke up. Obviously, I'm not really focusing, and I'm just sitting here and going, They really don't do that on the pre-recorded videos at all. I just go quiet, which I've figured out and trained myself to that. It's just the added pressure of trying to be live and trying to talk and play a game.
I wonder.
So let's try that again. Yakuza Kiwami 2 has detailed a new nightlife island and a new clan creator. It's showing off some pictures of a island apparently where you can date / chat with hired how would you explain this? They're hired waitresses and hostesses that will like drink with you so you don't have to drink alone in Japan, and they keep you entertained and keep you drinking, but it's not really prostitution, or at least it's claimed not to be prostitution, because they're not guaranteeing, or even I don't even think they very often end up sleeping with or leaving the club with clients. They stay in the bar effectively, if that's what I think this is. Yeah, so it's a club management feature in the Yakuza, and since it is being run by the Yakuza, maybe they will throw some prostitution in too. Only died.
I dream and the world trembles.
If you insist.
Moving on to the next bit of news, there's this dating sim / dungeon crawler. Talk about mixing two of Japan's favorite niche games called Boyfriend Dungeon. I want to watch this trailer. So it's an isometric top-down dungeon crawler for the most part of the gameplay, and you seem to be in kind of a modern world, and then you find boxes in which you quote-unquote rescue weapons, and then the weapon was a fire sword, and then the fire sword turned into a human-like creature, and the animation style of it is actually a little interesting too.
I wonder. The game begins.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
So yeah, the art style of the weapons are I guess very muscular. You might say very angled. Going for it's hardly the cutesy moe animation style that you normally see in anime these days. It's more, I guess, close to the Cowboy Bebop style. Royal character.
I will purify the fallen.
This back here. And this to the knee. Then attack here.
Answers.
Job's done.
So honestly, I doubt this game is going to be any different than any other dating simulator game or dungeon crawler from Japan. They come, they're a dime a dozen. A lot of them don't even come to the West, but it gives me something to cover, so I'll keep covering them, and I might as well announce them because they always at least try to put a twist on it. Compare this to, say, like the
Job's done.
if you compare it to what was the RPG Maker games that come out almost constantly on Steam. A lot of those RPG makers, what's their story? What's their hitch? It's a top-down 8-bit fantasy game, and there's nothing really special about it. Maybe it's trying to put it in a steampunk environment, maybe it's trying to tell a different kind of story, but usually the extra twist is not worth even mentioning, or there is no extra twist. At least this is something that on the title of the report can catch somebody's eye. Speaking of catching somebody's eye, apparently Microsoft has launched a anti-cheat thing for Universal Windows products, which are the Windows Store games, the things that you get free for crossplay if you buy a game on Xbox, and or if you're buying things through the Windows Store for some reason. So not only were the games already very reportedly not running well when you compared like a Steam version of a game on Windows 10 versus the Windows Store version of Windows 10. Already there was many complaints on many games about them not running well. Now there is this anti-cheat function that will also run on top of it and probably hurt the running of the game. Now, to be fair, Valve has the Valve account control running too on some games. It's if you integrate it into your game. So that if you are cheating on a Valve game, you can get banned from that game. You can get banned from all of Steam. You can have your entire account suspended, I believe, which really sucks. And cheating on some of the Valve games has been extremely high, but there's no real way to fix it. So Microsoft is just doing what Steam already did, and so maybe they'll do it right and it won't affect it. Let's see. UWP is Universal Windows Platform. Honestly, I don't think cheating is an issue in video games that much. I think there's a much higher perception that there's cheating than there actually is.
Shells up!
Can I do this?
I love
Nice. It seems like the true play can be turned on and turned off by the developers of the game, so let's see. But inherently, the easiest way you could cheat and get around any of these systems would be to have a pre-programmed computer act as a USB controller and send commands out. Like, that won't give you extra lives or anything, but it certainly could correct things. This The truth of the matter is, though, like, whatever Microsoft launches, Microsoft never really succeeds. It is kind of almost the battle of current Microsoft deployment employees versus Gabe Newell, a former Microsoft employee, with the anti-cheat systems. Yeah, people have not adopted the Windows Store, except for in some very rare instances. I imagine if you're a school and you want to have really tight control on what can be installed, there are some really low versions of Windows that only let you install things from the store.
The sun has set for me.
But I don't even think in those instances there's much competition, because if you're a school that you don't want anything installed, why not get a Chromebook? Or why not go with a Apple product like an iPad? There's really no need for Windows these days, unless you've written some custom program that you're still trying to have work. This
The might of Stormwind!
Here's a new game that was announced called Welcome to Hanwell. I follow Steam on Twitter, and they just kind of announce any new games, and there's no reviews for this game whatsoever. It's from a company, I think it's called Northern Sea Horse, and the visuals look pretty good as a dark horror game.
I wonder.
But this is interesting. Nobody's covered it, so you may see this game, Welcome to Hanwell, get covered, or you may find out that it's actually an awful game, and there's just like they've done a decent job of hiding that fact. Between the videos and these screenshots you can put on Steam, you can make games look a lot better than they actually play. Here's an article talking about an old game just because they like the old game from Eurogamer. Like, here's some real news. Moving on, Harmonix lays off 14 people to reduce overhead. 14 people isn't a ridiculously large amount of people in a global perspective. Like, I'm sure Walmarts and McDonald's around the world lay off well more than 14 people in a single day. But in a video game instance, 14 people could be an entire office. It could be an entire company. It could be half the company. You rarely see in the credits of video games hundreds and hundreds of people that are actually in the same office. You'll see possibly the game testers and the lawyers and the marketing team and all of that listed too, but those are very possibly, there's one set of lawyers or marketers for 5 different offices. Harmonix, of course, known for being the company that made music games that were really successful for a while there. But the fad has ended. It's a Boston-based company. One of the people who works for Giant Bomb used to work for Harmonix, I believe. Which, that's odd and in the wrong direction, and kind of odd for a video game review company to then hire somebody who used to work at a video game company, because there's going to be just some potential bias there. I guess it would be a potential bias to liking video games, which isn't a terrible bias to have as a video game reviewer, or liking Harmonix. I feel like, even though in general everybody can agree Electronic Arts is a horrible company, and them shutting down Visual Studios, which was EA Redwood before, is crappy to do. I feel like also there was just a lot of personal feelings tied into a lot of reporting on that too. Like, everybody in the video game industry, all of the big reviewers were friends with people that worked there, and it felt like there's a little just slightly lack of objectivity, that's the one I'm trying to say, in the reporting, and everybody came out with the same story. Everybody translated the announcement the same way. There was so a little bit of too much groupthink again. But I mean, it's hard to take that the way that announcement was phrased as anything more than what they were saying too. It seems almost undeniable that what they were saying is they were shutting down the company because they wanted to they wanted to not have a single player story based game. They wanted to have a MOBA style game they could put loot boxes in. Here's a story about a game called Little Red Lie. Is a game about debt manipulation and moving back in with your parents. And so so that on the face of it sounds like an interesting idea of just playing a character who isn't a superhero or anything. It's just somebody who ran up their bills, couldn't live on their own, and had to move in with their parents. Sadly, though, as I'm looking at this article, the first picture is just a kind of cutscene picture of an elderly couple, but rather elderly, in the front seat, which I assume are the parents, and a blonde lady who looks to be about in her mid-20s in the back seat. Although, guessing age for animated characters is always weird. But then I scroll down, and what do I see as the next picture? It's an RPG Maker game. And so Sometimes Always Monsters was a game I covered that was also kind of about debt manipulation, sort of. And this is a completely different company doing almost exactly the same thing using RPG Maker. And they're gonna try to tell this tale that's gonna probably not be that interesting in a very boring way.
The game begins. Squire, attend me. Drink with me, friend. Job's done.
So, yeah. If you want to struggle through an RPG Maker game, Little Red Lie might be worth you're looking at if you think that story could actually. Here's a pretty pretty bland announcement. Every now and then, Gamma Sutra is a great source for getting the boring behind the scene news. So there's a company called Keyword Studios that has acquired software development specialist D3T for $4 million. Who is Keyword Studios or D32? Like, I'm looking here at the article, and neither one of these companies are recognizable to me at all.
The game begins.
Roll of something. That didn't work at all.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I've lost this game. Yeah, I may just blow this arena run as I was going to. Anyways, here's some interesting news. Good news, I suppose, if there are too many fans of Sword Art Online still out there. From my very general following of anime fandom these days, I think there was a lot of of that Sword Art Online when it was coming out on Konami, and then eventually people started to realize it wasn't particularly worth their time or as good as they thought. But the video game Sword Art Online Hollow Realization is coming to PC via Steam October 27th. Scrolling down, it looks kind of like World of Warcraft. Maybe a 3D actual MMO game. Well, the PC version will include all the content previously released in the PlayStation 4 and PS Vita versions, including the Abyss of the Shrine Maiden downloadable content. Right. The thing is it an MMO or is it a is it a single player game designed to look like an MMO? Because one of those will work and one of those won't. And it looks like World of Warcraft. Very much like World of Warcraft. Big old bar at the bottom with a lot of skills and 3 health bars on the left, and then a equip screen. Does this game even have controller support, or is this going to be a strictly mouse and keyboard experience? So I wish there was a little bit more information about that game. But whatever.
Job's done.
Talking, covering Destiny. Here's an article I was gonna read, but it's too long to read out loud. Talking about how Eastern countries have dealt with loot boxes as people want the Western countries to start dealing with loot boxes. There have been the equivalents of loot boxes and gambling capsule toy things in Japan for many years. So as far as you expand types of gambling out away from the digital perspective, it's something that has been dealt with. I don't know if anybody's found the definitive answers yet. or solutions. That's an article worth talking about. That's worth talking about yet. Found somebody new on Twitter that is making a game, and I tend to like to follow people as they're developing games to see if they're ever gonna finish their game or if they could maybe get some insight. Looks like there's a new early access game called Galactic Food, which play with your friends in an online fast-paced brawler. Okay. Doesn't seem like a brawler in the sense though that you're moving from point A to point B in the level. It seems more like an arena fighting game. Smash Brothers. This one doesn't catch my attention at all. We've talked about Gintama Rumble several times. This is just an article talking about some new characters. Probably would recognize if you know what Gintama Rumble is from the manga and anime, but otherwise you won't know anything about it. So.
Delicious spider.
Into the breach.
I should have killed it against that. That was a mistake. So many things open. PlayStation's Japan. A PlayStation Japan YouTube channel teases true end of the century RPG for PS4 and Vita, and it's a very graphic picture of an animated woman who's been shot and just like a drive-by. And that is the official PlayStation Japan YouTube channel. Put this So, will that come to the West? Maybe not violence. Now the trailer I'm seeing is this kind of rather poorly animated red tank driving around.
Have another dose.
Now I'm seeing just a lot of kind of neon lit diagrams, circuitry. Now it's on the picture of the woman. So is this the idea that robots have taken over? Like, I'm seeing a crawling tank, I'm seeing a dirt buggy, I'm seeing a giant open world desert. I think this is just gonna be an open world desert where you shoot tanks. Alright, now there's an actual person with swords on his back. That time.
The game begins.
The sun has set for me.
Okay.
Boom!
Have another dose.
Yeah. I have no idea what this game is gonna be. Again, reading the article, it doesn't seem like anybody else knows what it is either. And there's no logos, there's nothing here indicating who's going to be making this game. So this very possibly could just be PlayStation Japan being weird and advertising some small indie game. If nobody's going to put their name on it. Alright, here's a game called Hyakki Castle, Hyakki Castle, an Edo period Japan dungeon crawler that's coming out in November. Watch that November 15th, 2017, according to the video from Osaka Studios. Okay, Edo period is basically the samurai times of in Japan. So when they say that, they just mean people are going to be in samurai suits, and it's a dungeon crawler 3D animation, but it's bad looking.
Behold the might of Stormwind!
And it's classic Japanese ghosts,
Immortality.
which won't translate well in the West at all. They're creepy looking, but then they're well, this might sell for its creepiness, but it will not sell for being just a dungeon crawler. This looks really bad. Yeah, another game I wouldn't recommend. We're running into a lot of things. TwitchCon is going on right now, and they've got an article here about how streamers and game developers can work together. Generally speaking, I don't want them working together, but yes, I don't always get what I want.
Checkmate.
Game developers should just make their games. That's another article. And Twitch also is going to add a clear roadmap for partner status, and that on top of what I've heard from Total Biscuit, that the Twitch streamers are starting to get warned away from using copyrighted music and content, because they're, I think, actually going to start implementing a decent content ID system. And that was really the only benefit, is Twitch was treating the streamers a lot nicer than YouTube was, but then you couldn't permanently keep your videos on Twitch, so there's no consistency there. The other issue is a lot of people on Twitch stream, but they don't make any money at all. Because of the way it's set up. Yes.
Checkmate. Job's done.
So let's see what the paths do. See, it seems almost like a game the way they've established this. You're getting kind of achievements and goals that are being called rituals to become an affiliate, to becoming a partner, and they seem to be embracing the idea of raiding, which seems a little odd to embrace that on Twitch. So they're going to encourage people throughout all of Switch to go and raid other Switches, which raiding is also exactly what people were calling harassment half the time on Twitch, is when one trolling group or joking group decide to go to another stream and be rowdy or say something ridiculous. But Twitch is fully embracing it. They're giving it its own option. So, who knows what Twitch is gonna look like when this is all said and done. Still, for my purposes, I couldn't use Twitch. Having over 5,000 videos on YouTube and just knowing how little ad revenue that has gotten, the idea of losing all that work you start over on Twitch makes no sense. And everybody that I've seen that has gone over to Twitch, they do it because they're mad at YouTube, and then they either come back or they kind of disappear forever. Fortunately, I'm gonna lose this.
Don't touch the air.
So, yeah. We got this new game on Kickstarter that's already been funded. Interesting. That's a nice twist to it, called King of Hats, where you apparently you die if somebody steps on your hat. And it looks like Smash Brothers, or well, no, it doesn't look. It's instead it's this low polygon graphics 8-bit type fighter, and you either knock off people's hats or your hat falls off as you throw things, or you jump on people when they're wearing their hats and that also kills them. Okay, so you can throw your hat as a weapon, but by throwing your hat on your weapon, you can immediately die, which if somebody jumps on it, which makes it really really odd. And they're looking for more money so that they have actual online multiplayer instead of just local multiplayer. You know, the concept sounds interesting to start off with, but actually it probably just isn't very repetitive, unbalanced idea. Like, if the main focus of your game is to do just one thing that everybody else is going to be doing, you're just going to have a fighting game where everybody's going to be throwing spears and playing a scorpion, to use a Mortal Kombat reference. Like, nobody wants to fight somebody who's just, you know, throwing a spear at you, throwing a projectile weapon at you and stunning you, and you have to block it, and then you throw your projectile weapon. The moveset here is way too limited, and this is not a fun game. And it looks like you can only play as 2 people too. That's another one of those game articles that's half advertisement more than anything else. My deck has no duplicates. Create a custom spell. If this works, create a 1-cost spell. I can't see how many mana crystals I have. I have 3. Alright. So 1-cost spell. Deal 3 damage.
Not too quickly.
So like, if I had done a 5-cost spell and had a little bit more mana, that would have worked. Razer has a new webcam that has a ring of LEDs around it, so it lightens you up and makes you look better. It's an interesting idea, at the very least, to have a cheap webcam that's probably not that cheap with its own lighting rig built in, because people who buy webcams are not going to immediately think about lighting at all anyway, so it puts your product at the very least in a good light. There we go, we got 1 win and we were handed 1 victory for this arena run. So prize there. And and what is it? Ultra Soar. Type that in. They really don't have to type it in, but game Hearthstone deck tracker wants this too. And so we started this recording, this part of the recording with a card pack opening, and we'll end it with a card pack opening. Right. However, it's important to prioritize, and the only thing I was able to do was get one stinking victory. And I guess I can't even send any more friend requests out. I have either so many pending, or I just haven't played with anybody lately. Oh no, they've actually moved everything, haven't they? In the newest update, they moved everything over here. Fireside gathering, remove friends, add friends, all there. So it's time to swap over to the Americas account and focus on that before anything else. If I don't get all of the recording, all of the daily goals done, which I want to get them all done, I want that gold, but it is much more important to have gold on my main account than it is the Asian account. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.